Hello everyone, I'm Raisa Cecilia from BPED 2F. For today's report, I am going to report about the position paper. What is position paper? A position paper is a kind of essay in which you express your opinion or position regarding a particular subject matter. It describes the author's position on an issue and the rationale for that position, and in the same way that a research paper incorporates supportive evidence based on the facts that provide a solid foundation for the author's argument. Let's talk about writing a position paper. Use evidence to support your position, such as statistical evidence or indisputable dates and events. Using evidence to support your position, it is important to support your argument with evidence to ensure the validity of your claims as well as to refute the counterclaims to show that you are well informed about both sides. Validate position with authoritative references or primary source citation. It allows those who are reading your work to locate your sources in order to learn more about the ideas that you include in your paper. Authoritative references and primary source quotations are used to validate your position in the paper. Examine the strengths and weaknesses of the position. Strengths and weaknesses are part of being self-aware. When you know your strengths and weaknesses, you can create a development strategy that focuses your specific development needs. Evaluate possible solutions and suggest courses of action. The introduction should be clearly identify the issue and state of the author's position. It should be written in a way that catches the reader's attention. Guidelines in writing a position paper. The clever hook. The introduction should start with statements written in a way that catches your reader's attention. Start your introduction with a clever hook. You know, something that's going to grab a reader's attention. These few lines of your essay will not only identify the subject of your paper, but they also make your readers want to learn more. The identified issue. The third part of the introduction should show the main issue of the paper. Here, you are going to give some highlights and interpretations of facts. And the last one is the author's position. The author's position, the introduction should end with a solid thesis statement that expresses your position on the topic. The thesis statement essentially serves as a mini outline for the paper. The basic stand that an author takes, the opinion that he expresses, and the major point that he wishes to make about his or her subject. It contains the controlling idea of the essay, and therefore it gives the direction and unity to all separate elements of the writing.
Good morning, Mom. Good morning, classmate. My topic for today is all about the introduction and position paper. An introduction which identifies the issues that will be discussed and state the author's position on that issue. It should begin by providing your reader a general understanding of overall topic. The middle of introduction should narrow down the topic so your reader understands the relevance of your topic and what you plan to accomplish your paper. It is very important to include the general understanding and position in introduction of position paper, because when your readers start reading your introduction, and they will have an idea of what is the position paper all about, because you indicated only the general understanding. So always remember that you should just include ano the general understanding, but because when you include the content, it will not be an introduction anymore, but it will be a topic, because in introduction you are just introducing your topics. So that means you will just give an idea or hint to your readers what is your position all about. Next is your introduction must have a dual purpose, where you should define both topic and your approach to impress your interest concerning what you should say. The way you approach your topic must be reflected to your thesis statement. So, as I've said a while ago, you should indicate only the general topic. And this is one of the most important thing also, that your introduction must be catchy so that it will impress the interest of your readers, because because honestly, as a reader also, when they find it boring, they will not continue it. But if your introduction is catchy, interesting, and straight to the point, it's not very long, it will give the readers a curiosity to continue so that they will proceed to your body. So this is one of the technique of the writer, that they will always should begin with an interesting and unique introduction so that their readers will continue their reading their position paper. And lastly, how do you start introduction for a position paper? So as I've said a while ago, start with an interesting sentence to draw your attentions of the reader. Then introduce your topic at the end of the thesis statement, which reveals your position paper or summarize your reason. So in position paper, you should start with a catchy or interesting sentence so that it will caught your attention of your reader. And then after that, you will include a general statement so that they will have an idea of what is the topic or what is the position all about. That's all po.
Good day to each and everyone, especially to you, Ma'am Marian. I'm Nerd Davon Ituayon from BPED 2F. Today, I will talk about the body of position paper. So, what is the body of position paper? The definition of position paper is that it contains a central argument and it can be further broken up into three unique sections: background information, evidence supporting the author's position, a discussion of both sides of the issue which addresses and refuses arguments that contradict the author's position. So, the body is the largest part of position paper. It includes background information, arguments in support of your position, and an examination of both sides of the issue. You can gather adequate evidence to back up your arguments by completing in-depth study. Addressing both sides of the debate is the key objective. So, what do we put in the body of position paper? First is the background information, why the topic is important. It's important because background information presents an arguable opinion about the topic. The goal of a position paper is to convince the audience that your opinion is valid and worth listening to. The second one is you need a strong evidence. By including supporting evidence for the opposing side, you will able to more clearly refute the conflict arguments. In other words, you can point out weaknesses in the evidence cited by the opposing side or highlight strengths of evidence that support your stand comparison. So, the body in the position paper involves background information, evidence to back up your opinion, and analysis of both sides of the subject matter. By conducting true research, you will collect enough data to support your claims. The main point is to address both aspects of the argument. The way you will show the reader that you are objective in your statements. And the last one is how the topic affects the country. Just like the title of COVID-19 position paper, a multidimensional crisis that affects all, that mentioned in the module earlier. In this topic of position paper, we all know that we can create a position paper if we don't have exact and clear evidence or strong evidence about the title we choose. But obviously, the title of COVID-19 has a strong evidence that every human being in this world experienced that pandemic is real, and we are all faced that problem last 2020. And it affects out our organization, work, food supply of every Filipinos, not only Filipinos but the whole world. And that's all. Let's move to the next topic.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, classmates. My name is Renz Eugene Siuro. Now we discuss about the strong conclusion. A strong conclusion is the last component of the paper is the conclusion. Here, you should restate the main ideas, summarize the main concepts or key arguments of the paper, and reinforce it without repeating or rewording the introduction or body of the paper. Draw a conclusion based on the information and include suggested courses of action and possible solutions or recommendations.
Strong conclusion is the final paragraph of the research paper and serves as to help to understand the reader and need to be clarified as well and follow the step by writing of a research paper. Sample of conclusion of position paper titled COVID-19 position paper in multidimensional crisis that affects all. A position paper written by the European Student Union. This is example of the strong conclusion, emphasizing the key points and summarizing of the main points of our topic so that readers can understand what message that emphasize. That's all. Okay. This is a sample of conclusion. Europe and the United States are currently the epicenter of the epidemic, but the pandemic poses a huge risk of expanding the COVID-19 crisis into the global south and the areas in the world with low capacity of the healthcare system or fragile economic condition. And this is example of
This needs to be ensured through the coordination of global organizations such as United Nations and the World Health Organizations, as well as the intergovernmental economic coordination